Feel the 68 After Dark, Sirius XM Channel 84 is the place. ESPNU station, John Fanta, Terrence Oglesby, Jeff Goodman with you. And then in this 11 o'clock hour on the East Coast, we have a Big 12 affair going right down to the wire in Austin. Texas up 1 on Kansas, 77-76. Jayhawks with the basketball with 18.5 seconds to go. Jeff Goodman, your thoughts on the way that this game has shaped out?
Well, it's a huge game for Texas right now because if you look at their schedule down the stretch, it is brutal. I'm going to see them actually in Waco on Saturday. So they go at Baylor, at Oklahoma, Texas Tech at home, TCU at home, at West Virginia, Baylor at home, and at Kansas. So there's not many too many games you could circle in the Big 12 right now and say that's a win. They need this one desperately. They lost at home to Kansas State. And again, this is a game, they don't win too many games in the 70s. Most of the games that Texas wins are grinders in the 60s. So I think it will prove to Beard and Texas that they can win a game against a big-time opponent like Kansas, playing a little bit more up-tempo than they're used to playing.
I think what's significant about this game is Timmy Allen's 11 for 17 from 2. Hadn't taken a 3, and a lot of them have been mid-range jumpers. Coming into the season, I thought Texas was going to score. I thought that was going to be the biggest difference between this team and Chris Beard's last few teams at Texas Tech. They just haven't been able to do it consistently, and they haven't guarded. Tonight, they have guarded. They forced, I want to say, 12 or 13 turnovers in the first half. Now, KU's cleaned that up. But it's if they can force turnovers, they can get out and run, and then they have the athletes to be, or their guards are fast enough to be able to do it. Not great athletes, but they're really fast. So then you can score in transition some. This is a huge game for Texas. More than anything else, it's affirmation that they can compete, and I'm not sure that they've really been able to do that so far this year.
The Horns come up behind with the stop. Again. Well, look, we're going to give you some play-by-play here. The Horns come up with the stop, 6.8 seconds left. They're going to head to the free throw line.
So that's interesting because right now, instead of what we thought would happen, which was Kansas would have the ball in Remy Martin's hands, right? One of the biggest transfer additions in the offseason coming over from Arizona State. Instead, it's DeJuan Harris. And he drives and he loses the ball against Marcus Carr. And this is an issue. This is something that, again, we thought their point guard situation for Kansas was going to be maybe not elite level, but a major upgrade, and Bill Self really wanted to add speed at that position with Remy Martin. And right now he's got, honestly, DeJuan Harris is great defensively, but he's kind of a non-shooter and a non-scorer.
Yeah, I think that's
kind of shocked that ball didn't go to Ochai. How do you not get the ball into National Player of the Year?
Yeah, how does it not?
Or Christian Brown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But at least if Ochai Agbaji has the ball, it could go to a weak side shooter like a Christian Brown, or you don't know. You get something to the basket too. You've got McCormick potentially on a rebounding opportunity. David McCormick's played well tonight. He's 6 of 10 from the field, 16 and 7. Wilson's got 18 and 11. I mean, I actually am going to give Texas credit here, Jeff, because I thought that Texas overall was kind of soft. To be candidly honest, I think
they're good at home.
They're good
at home. Other than the Kansas State game, they've been flawless at home so far. So I think, again, 79 points for Texas, that's, I don't want to say unheard of, but they don't do that very often because they really have only a couple guys that can beat you off the bounce. Marcus Carr being one of them. Timmy Allen's a terrific player. I almost feel like they should be playing more two-man game with those two, with Carr and Timmy Allen than they've done. Those are your two best players. Make sure they get the brunt of the shots. And to me, again, Texas is done. I think Timmy Allen is their best player. Marcus Carr is 3 for 13 tonight. He hasn't brought it, but Trey Mitchell was good early. They've gotten some production from some guys that hadn't generally done it. And the other part, guys, is Jerrance Howard, who's got the scout for Texas, was an assistant for Kansas for 10-plus years. So he knows this Jayhawks team pretty well.
Here's my question. Is Kansas a Final Four caliber team?
Sure.
Yeah. I think so.
Can they not be? Yeah.
Yeah, they have some of the best wings in the country with Brown and Agbaji. Like those two are going to be able to string some games together. And guys, it's 6 games. They could win 3 or 4 of them. Like, let's be honest. And David McCormick, hey, if he plays like he did tonight, just physical and he's just there, he's just existing. We just need him to exist. He doesn't need to be great. He needs to exist because those perimeter players can carry you.
Here's the follow-up.
They need Remy Martin, but it feels like it's almost getting too late now. He's hurt, and obviously there were some issues with Bill Self trying to deprogram Remy Martin, the ASU Remy Martin.
Hey, that's hard, guys.
Yeah. Yes.
That's hard because he's been in a system for 4 years. You're going to take him over for one? Like, it's not going to work. Like, here's the thing with transfers. You almost have to take them for what they are immediately because they're not going to be able to change much. And I understand what Coach Self was wanting to do.
He had no choice there. He's saying to himself, I got to get a quick guard. That was his big thing when I was talking to him in the offseason was like, we have no speed. We have no speed. We're not getting anything easy in transition. He felt like, you know what? Remy can give him that, but Remy's been difficult. All right, Texas gets the win. And I'm excited because I'm going to see Texas coming off a big win in Waco Saturday against a Baylor team that is going to need a win to kind of get back on track.
Texas wins 79-76 over Kansas. Jayhawks suffer just their fourth loss of the season, now 19-4. I guess the follow-up then is because, look, the obvious answer is yes, Kansas is a Final Four caliber team. But, Jeff, you brought this up before we hit air tonight. I think it's really an interesting point. What Bill Self continues to do at Kansas with a different level of player beyond Ochai Agbaji this year, it bears noting what he's been able to do, considering the fact that point guard play, we often talk about in college basketball, that's what it revolves around. That's very inconsistent for Kansas.
I have said this for years, and Kansas fans have fought me on it for years now. The NCAA investigation has hindered Kansas more than any other team in the country. Why? They're an Adidas school. Listen, Adidas didn't have a ton of players before the FBI investigation. Now they're completely decimated. So there's nothing. So Nike is not going to help send a kid to Kansas, an Adidas school. There's very few elite level players that are playing on the Adidas circuit. So it's going to hurt him even more. Look at Ochai. Their best player was like ranked 300th coming out of high school. They don't have any lock pros. Ochai's turned himself into one, but let's face it, the talent on these rosters the last couple of years has not been Kansas-like at all.
No, we when we went back to we were all in Champions Classic in New York, and we were all talking to Coach Self and his whole team. It was like I made a joke like, well, I never got a call from Kansas. And then I went back and looked at that roster. No shit, I didn't get a call from Kansas, man. I looked back, it was like Mario Chalmers, Brandon Rush, Darrell Arthur.
That's what I'm saying.
These rosters aren't like that. Yeah, they're not like that anymore. They're not like that anymore. And whenever they were national championship good every year, like those guys were loaded to the brim with 5 stars. They don't have that. And what's more impressive about anything, guys, how good Bill Self is at getting these teams that don't have the same level of talent. And here we are talking about them being potentially Final Four good, which is nuts.
Because of Bill Self.
All because of Brother Self.
Yep.
Here's a telling. We talk about not getting too far into the weeds statistically. But Texas in bench points tonight, they outscored Kansas 32-10. Like, we thought that certain transfers for Kansas would be impactful. The fact is, Joseph Yesufu played better tonight, but overall, he's been a disappointment.
Right. He hasn't played. I mean, Yesufu, we thought because of the NCAA tournament for Drake that he was going to be a guy who could come in and play major minutes and be a guard. And especially now, again, without Remy Martin, you thought for sure Yesufu would have an opportunity. And he's been virtually non-existent for the season. Again, they've got good wings. They need Remy Martin. And without him, I don't know. I don't think they can win 6 straight. I think they can get to the Final Four, but I don't think you can win 6 straight unless you have the Remy Martin, not Arizona State Remy, at least the Remy Martin who can impact 2 or 3 games in the NCAA tournament.
The spurtability of Remy Martin is what this team missed tonight. Yeah. I mean, the fact that Remy, whenever he gets going, 10 points, he can do it in a matter of 4 minutes. That's what this team misses. They don't have somebody. Ochai is going to be good the entire 40 minutes, but he's going to do it. I'm going to have 4 points before the first media, 2 points next. Like, it's going to be a gradual thing. Remy can flip the game on its head because of his talent level, and not his talent level, but the manner in which he plays. I think that's the biggest thing too.
All right, we're reacting live. Texas over Kansas 79-76. Longhorns have won 5 of 6. So I'm going to pitch the question to you both, and we'll start with T.O. here. The Big 12 team that you believe in the most during this year's NCAA tournament will be...
With or without Remy Martin's a big question. Like, is he going to be able to, is he going to be...
with a healthy and body Remy Martin. That doesn't mean healthy in mind. That means healthy in body.
So an emotionally unstable Remy Martin with healthy legs.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so let me just preface all that with this. If that's the case, and he's able to give you 2 or 3 games, I really like Kansas in the tournament because the big around the wings, they're physical, they're going to be able to guard. Point guard play's been okay, but they can be consistent enough, and I have faith in Bill Self. The other team, though, guys, Baylor, if they're healthy, sure. Texas Tech.
I'm going Baylor.
I'm with you on Baylor. I love Baylor too. I love them. I've loved them all year. But Texas Tech in the tournament, that big physical body where the whistles aren't coming along as frequently because you got to play more games. You got to keep it going. The physicality of Texas Tech, I think you can look forward to as being a team that every single night during the NCAA tournament, they're going to just beat you up, and it can come from any different spot. I really like this Texas Tech team.
So here's what I'll say about Baylor is we have seen a Baylor team that has been absolutely banged up over the last 3 weeks now. LJ Cryer missed games, not healthy. Akinjo missed games, has come back, has not looked like himself. If you can get this team healthy again, Flagler missed time. They had 2 guards for a game last week, and their second guard was a transfer from Division II Fairmont State. Okay, so they haven't had their true perimeter. So Matthew Meyer has not done what we thought he'd do this year.
No.
But when they've got all their dudes, Meyer doesn't need to. All he needs to do is have 2 games in the NCAA tournament where he shows up and shows out because it's going to – Kendall Brown, you got Sohan who missed time as well. I mean, come on. We cannot judge Baylor in the last 3 weeks. They have not had a healthy team, and I'm not sure they're going to have one when I see them on Saturday against Texas.
Yeah, a good point. And here's the other thing. At this time last year – we did not think of Baylor on the level that they ended up being at, which was the national champion. We thought they had it in them, but they have gone through such a nasty COVID pause. We didn't see them for a period of time. And then we were sitting there at the end saying, man, if they didn't go through that pause, we could have proclaimed them as one of, if not the best college basketball team we've seen in the last 20 years. That pause really derailed them. They've been so banged up that it's hard to accurately judge the Bears, but we know this much. On their best day, they could cut down the nets, T.O.
Well, it's completely changed the way they play their injuries. Like LJ Cryer is just another guy that can get into the paint and create a chain of events. James Akinjo's had to dribble the ball too much. This is a team that thrives off ball movement and one guy getting into the paint and the ball skipping around the perimeter and guys attack closeouts. That's what Matthew Meyer's good at. He's had to do more this year, which is why, quite frankly, guys, I think he's underperformed because of that. He's tried to do a little bit too much. With LJ Cryer back in the mix, James Akinjo doesn't have as much ball handling responsibilities. Then guys kind of get moving and you can create better opportunities for guys to attack closeouts. And that's where Meyer could be really, really good come the tournament. They have to get healthy. We're getting late in the year. They have to get healthy. If they're healthy, without a question, they're Final Four national championship good, but they have to be completely healthy.